Good evening, guys. Hello. I am sorry. We had a big technical problem. Uh, I guess Photoshop expired and Photoshop, like my Adobe account, completely was like, we're forcing you to get new plans because I kind of gained the system and got like Photoshop and Acrobat, like full Acrobat for like $30 a month. And it was like, I think they got like, we're killing all those plans off. So I had to, I was scrambling, like, why can't I make a thumbnail? No. So we had to get that fixed. I am sorry for the delay. I'm sorry for the delay, chat. It is live TV after all. But we're here now. We're here now. Pie Baker, yes, after 15 minutes, you guys, I am legally declared abandoned. And you guys can go do whatever you want at that point. But anyways, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. You survived Monday, which is a good sign. And this makes Nick look punctual. Yeah, but I'm actually trying to get stuff done. So I'm not dealing with personal stuff. I'm dealing with Adobe. So, and if you guys were not aware, I do all the thumbnails. I do all the thumbnails. I do not have somebody help me do those. I wish it was a sandwich. A sandwich would be far tastier and far more enjoyable. Let's see. Who says that? Who said that? Yeah. I wish it was a sandwich. I wish it was a sandwich. You guys demand a Clyde visit? I will try to work on that. I will try to work on that. No, I didn't set it 7:10. I meant to send it when I said it. I meant to set it when I said it. I just, yeah. So, this is why I have trust issues. That's why you have trust issues and daddy issues. I'm sorry, chat. I'm exacerbating things. Oh. Let me see here. Oh my God, you're late again. Yes, well. Will from Texas, member for 2 months, Will, thank you, was saying, should Stephen, meaning Stephen Kenneth Bennell II, also known as Destiny, it's good name, be liable for Rose's firing? Yes, it appears Rose no longer has a job. I'm sure the DGG foot soldiers didn't do a great job going over there going, Tsar! I mean, but, the problem is, it's why you don't play these, you don't do this crap. But also, she's, 17, 18 years old, which is older now, but it's like, 17, like 3-4 years ago, kids knew better. Like, you don't share nudes on the internet. I mean, at some point, like, yeah, you are a kid, but it's like you're almost able to, some states you're considered an adult for like criminal purposes. It's like, and you're sharing nudes with a guy on the internet. It's like, come on now. At some point, bad consequences are happening, and I'm like, you were once like you weren't warned. This isn't. It's not like it's 2001. So. That's not a technical issue. I think it is. Technically, it is an issue. That's how I got you. That's how I get you. The entire Creative Cloud is $30 a month. Just say, cancel, bring down the price. Yeah, I know. I think that's what it was. But yeah, Adobe is like so annoying with how they do stuff. But like, yeah, my account got all jacked up, I think. So it's a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating trying to like take care of these things. Because they yeah. It's just like, and they're making it harder and harder to edit things now. They're making it harder and harder to manage the billing. It's like, it's all done by design. It's all done by design. So, it is what it is, chat. It is what it is. It is what it is when you're dealing with them. JJ, so what are they charging you now? Well, I got rid of, I scrambled. I signed up for the Photoshop. I'll figure it out after we're done here. So I just had to get it done. So, is Adobe's issues code for your Chatterbait stream running late? Of course. I had to drive Clyde around. Clyde had a piano lesson. Maddie B says hello from Long Island. Thank you for being here 13 months. Thank you, Maddie. Kayla says my dog is not a husky, and it's floofy and it barks and it's a snow dog, so it's a husky. Is Adobe the new code for Coke? I mean, I don't know. I'm cutting it with too much Crisco if that's the case. T-Money says, Afuera, pendejo. Yes. Let's see here. In that case, go ahead and erase that last email I sent you. Oh. Let's see here. I think you can make thumbnails with GIMP. I know, but yeah, and I know there's Canva, but it's not the same. It's not the same stat. And I love playing with it. Like, I make stuff on Photoshop and I just play around with it. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun to use it, try to be creative with it, and come up with different things. So, yeah, I know. I thought it's pendejo, not pendejo, but yeah. Plixler has a free online Photoshop alternative. I'll check that out. Benjamin Lewis says, you got to burn a flag today. I might. All right, guys, so let's welcome to the show. If you guys are new, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and today we're talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, also known as Maryland Dad, also known as Afuera Man. And remember, Afuera from the great president of Argentina, Mr. President Milei. As everything gets removed, Afuera, all the offices get Afuera. Now, starting from here, chat, if you guys don't remember his saga, and we might need to bring up some pictures just so you know who we're dealing with. You know, he is the Maryland Dad who, and this is him, if you guys don't remember. This is who we're talking about. He was from El Salvador. He lived in El Salvador. His mom made Crunchwrap Supremes, apparently the best Crunchwrap Supremes in all of El Salvador. Apparently, something like that. I don't know. They talked about pupusas, and I'm like, it sounds like a Crunchwrap Supreme. And I'm like, I guess Taco Bell really is ethnic food. So anyways, his mom makes Crunchwrap Supremes or some shit like that. It doesn't really matter. And then a gang comes around and go, oh, yeah, say, orale! We're coming in here and we're going to tax the Crunchwrap Supreme business. You need to pay us tribute, orale! And then she's like, I no scare. And then, they run away. They run away. Eventually they have some problems. Allegedly, they get muscled out by the pupusa people, the pupusa gang. The Crunchwraps are unauthorized. For some reason, they just send him, and they're, attacking him for some reason. He goes to Honduras, and eventually he comes to America. Never does anything until 2019, where then he goes, oh, by the way, I'm being attacked by gang members. Please help me. The Crunchwrap gang is back home. Oh, no. So he is able to, the government says, well, hey, guess what? You're still getting deported. He cries to an immigration judge, and the immigration says, okay, fine. You can't go back to El Salvador. And chat, for those of you who do not know where we're talking about on the map, we are talking about El Salvador. Down here. Here is El Salvador. It looks like a very nice place. Capital of El Salvador is San Salvador. So anyways, there you go. That is what we're looking at. So here's El Salvador on the map. It's down there on La Pacific Ocean. There you go. So the judge said you can't send him back there, but you can send him anywhere else. Now, as things were going, he has since gone through everything here, and he has and from there, things picked up and moved along, and then the Trump administration eventually found him and said, hey, we're all about this, so we're going to go ahead and, we're going to Afuera you. Now, that thing had never been changed. that court holder was still in the way, saying you can't go to El Salvador. Kilmar was put on a plane and sent to CCOT along with all those other people, including all the Venezuelans. So yes, the court order was breached. And his attorneys did the right thing and brought that up in court. And the judge was like, you can't do that. That's not allowed. Hold on here, chat. Hold on. Let me right here. So what happened? Well, the court, it's correct. If there is a court order that says don't do something and you do it, that has to be addressed. And I know you guys don't like to hear me say that, but that's the truth. We have the rule of law or we don't have the rule of law. And the easiest way to get rid of that holder, that you can't go back to El Salvador ruling, is go in front of an immigration judge and say, look, judge, this is bullshit. El Salvador is safe now. The judge goes, yes, reading this paper, El Salvador is safe. This order is vacated. Bye. That's all that had to happen. That's all that had to happen. That's all that had to happen. But that didn't happen. So that started a lot of issues. And at that point, yes, he needs to be brought back. His due process. Remember, that's what we're fighting for, allegedly, is his due process. Okay, well, the process that he's due. There were issues, though. I mean, he was given away to the El Salvadoran government, and there were problems like that. And then eventually they're like, oh, when this is one of the issues, when you start getting on the government's radar, they start looking through everything you've done. And guess what they found for him? That he was hustling a bunch of Mexican dudes around. They didn't have any luggage, and he had a bunch of cash in his pocket. It's like, what happened there? And being Maryland dad, and he's out in the middle of Tennessee. You're like, Also, I do like this picture of him. They try to say he's Maryland man, but it's like, isn't the Chicago Bulls logo a symbol that MS-13 likes to use? And they're like, wait, no, this is not right. No, we don't mean to show this. No. Because you're like, wait, it's the Chicago Bulls. And it's like, why is this Salvadoran guy wearing, why? Huh? Yeah, so they're like, but wait. But as we get through all this, as we keep moving here, chat, anyway, he's supposed to have his hearing. He never got the hearing. So great, we bring him back and we do it. In the meantime, he got, he became somebody. The government started looking through all their files and they found, this is an interesting incident. And they indicted him for transporting undocumented aliens and illegals, also known as human smuggling and human trafficking. You can call it that. And then what happens? Well, he gets indicted, and we went through it last week. The case of vindictive prosecution, which is being alleged, which, you know what? I mean, maybe it is, but it's entirely within the bounds of the law. It's not being made up. It's not being done. Anyway, as Abrego Garcia's case went along, his case in Maryland with Judge Xinis, and she's the one who thinks she can interfere in an immigration setting, which I don't think she can, filed a court order as part of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's habeas petition saying he is not to be removed. Now, this is where we pick up, and this goes back a little bit to here. So we are moving into what happened just recently in Tennessee, where his smuggling case is. So what do you see here? This is out of the Middle District of Tennessee, and this is the judge releasing him. And he's allowed to do that. He is allowed to release. So and this is the order to modify release conditions is granted. So Abrego is ordered release after processing subject to all conditions. He says he shall be released no later than 5 p.m. on August 22nd. He shall be released to people to the Marshal Service, which shall coordinate his transportation to Maryland and provide for his transfer to the custody of his brother as a third-party custodian. And that's what happens in federal court. You have somebody who's agreeing, I agree to take care of this person, I agree to watch out for him. So these conditions are set to his brother, who has already been identified in documents previously submitted to the court. They say upon his release, they shall meet promptly with the appropriate pretrial services officer to arrange for electronic location monitoring and to again review the conditions of release. So when he gets to Maryland, he's got to meet with the pretrial services officer. They're going to go over all this. They're going to hook him up to an electronic monitor. He's going to wear an ankle bracelet. And it says the specific details shall be coordinated. And so once these are completed, he shall travel directly to Maryland, where he must report by telephone to pretrial services of the District of Maryland by no later than 10 a.m. on Monday, August 25th, 2025. Thereafter, he must remain with his brother. And he is reminded that, as stated in the conditions of release, that he must comply with all conditions of bond bail imposed by any other governmental agency without limitation, including ICE or the Department of Homeland Security, meaning I'm letting you out, but you must comply with all government agencies. Meaning if they tell you to show up, you show up. He's also reminded that if he's taken in ICE custody, he's required by the conditions of his release to consent to being transported back to Tennessee for further proceedings. Additionally, should he be taken into custody upon return to Maryland, the United States, but without limitation, ICE, shall ensure that while he remains in custody, he has access to his attorneys, both physically and by telephone, to prepare for trial. Fair enough. And that was what's set there. So the orders of release, you can't violate state and federal laws. You have to cooperate with the DNA sample there. You must supervise and advise the court if you change your residence. And you must appear in court as required. And those are conditions there. There's additional release conditions. He must reside at the address provided. And it's a sworn declaration admitted into evidence at the detention hearing. So that's how they're there. And it says they go through all this here and they point out that he's surrendering a passport. Well, he shouldn't have one. He's not a legal citizen. So, yes. Yes, his brother is a legalized citizen from what I understand. Not travel outside the Middle District of Tennessee and the District of Maryland, meaning the District of Maryland is the entire state of Maryland, unless approved in advance. And avoid all contact with anybody who's a co-defendant, except family members who the government alleges may have alleged or witnesses or co-defendants, but no discussion of this case outside presence of counsel. So his family's involved. Get medical or psychiatric treatment. He needs anger management, so he doesn't beat his wife, I guess. The program the director approved of Retreat Trial Services. Why does he need anger management? I guess he really was tuning up his wife. I guess he was. Can't possess a firearm. He can't anyway. Don't possess alcohol. Don't illegally possess narcotics. Submit to drug testing. Participate in home detention. And then submit to the following location monitoring technology. This is all pretty things here, guys. And see, these are all the things that are handwritten out. It's all handwritten by the judge. And it's all the conditions. Not to have any contact directly with any known MS-13 gang member. Well, why would that matter? I thought he wasn't in the gang. I thought he wasn't in a gang, chat. I thought that was the heckin' thing here. I thought that was the heckin' thing. Well, he's not in a gang. He's just a guy. Then why is he in, what's the problem? Huh. Get your noggin jogging. Don't it get your noggin jogging. Is the anger management to prevent human trafficking? I think so, guys. When he gets so mad, he wants to traffic people. He's just like, Oh, and he's going to start beating his wife. He's like, I'm just going to go smuggle people. That's safer. Yeah, it's like, oh. Hmm. Yes. Yes. All right. So what else do we have there? Well, we have Judge Xinis's order that she put in Maryland, and you guys do need to see this here. So this is the United States stuff for the District of Maryland. You guys remember Maryland? They just have one district, but they have courts in a couple different places. So this is Judge Xinis, the brave pixie-cutted judge who, yas queening her way through things. This was done July 23rd, and she has an order. She put in place a memorandum opinion, so it's her order. We're not going through all the garbage here. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So what are we doing here? Her analysis. So they're seeking a writ of habeas corpus under the All Writs Act. Okay, which means that he needs to be brought forward. So what happens? Well, she's ordering a return to the status quo ante, meaning prior to everything happening. And there's Supreme Court case law that says an alien wrongfully removed from the U.S. is afforded effective relief by facilitation of their return along restoration of their immigration status they had upon removal. And that's fair. If you were wrongfully removed, you have the right, like if I had a green card and they accidentally fucked up and they deported me, or they did something, I have the right to say, no, return me to where I was. And that's the rule of law. They point out that his immigration status at the time of his wrongful removal, and it was wrongful, was decidedly not in detention in ICE custody and not in Tennessee. Rather, it was released on an ICE supervision order out of Baltimore. The defendants concede had they commenced any lawful proceedings instead of unlawfully expelling him, those would have begun in the Baltimore field office. Foreshadowing, chat. Foreshadowing, chat. Just, we're going to take a little pin and go, boop. Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. That's a foreshadowing moment here. As Count Dankula says, in the business, we call this foreshadowing. Oh, the Baltimore field office here. Well, what's going to happen? Oh. And it says the Baltimore Immigration Court would be the court of jurisdiction for any motion to reopen. Thus, as if defendants now claim a desk officer's initiate any proceedings, the proceedings must start in Baltimore. Yes, chat. Bodymore Murderland. Okay, so venue shall lie at the immigration court where jurisdiction vests. And it says, this seems especially non-controversial. And as remarkable as it may be, what a bitch. Defendants insist that no decisions will be made until Abrego is in ICE custody and an officer is assigned to him. The defendants have no intention of restoring Garcia to ensure the case is handled, as it would have been had he not improperly been sent to El Salvador. So accordingly, they want the relief that's set. The relief is also narrowly tailored. It permits the defendants to initiate lawful proceedings upon Abrego to return to Maryland, but requires those proceedings begin in Baltimore. Which, once again, I remember how I told you, chat, trust the plan. And remember, he got released on the 22nd. He was released on Friday. And some of you were messaging me, what's going on? And I just told you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They ain't forgot about him. So, she says, particulars motion of the defendants also contend the relief would interfere with the exercise of their statutory immigration enforcement authority. She says that's without merit. Okay, well, whatever. She says that they've made it clear they have not yet taken any immigration-related action against him. And that will not start until a desk officer decides what to do next. And she says, thus an order will fulfill this court's injunction without impairing their authority to commence proceedings, adjudicate cases, or execute removal orders. And this is a Supreme Court case pointing out she cannot interfere with that. She cannot interfere with that. And she says, as to whether the requested relief impacts detention decisions, she says this does nothing. She says once he's been restored, out of the Baltimore Fieldhouse, the defendants may take whatever action is available to them under the law. Well, do you really think she's going to let that happen? Well, but that is a different question for one of the defendants have shown any reason not to restore him to the status quo ante upon his release. Certainly, the ICE detainer does not do the trick. The detainer cites ongoing removal proceedings, but by their own admission, no such proceedings exist. Yeah, and that's kind of where she catches them. But we'll come up with a plan. And she says the withholding of removal has been final since 2019. If they wish to revisit the holding, they can remove to open such proceedings of Baltimore, which has not been done. And that's what they have to do. Reopen the Baltimore case. Like I said, check. Give him that process that he wants. Sure, he's going to lose, but now we can say he got his process. Haha. I guess. I'm sure as he gets deported on that airplane, he's like, well, at least I got my due process. And it says, thus the detainer appears infirm and cannot impede the return. So what did she said? Once he's restored, he may be ordered to appear at the field office for commencement of proceedings. And those proceedings may or may not include a lawful arrest, detention, and eventual removal. And she says, so long as they're taken within the bounds of the Constitution, this court will have nothing further to say. I highly fucking doubt that. I highly doubt you're going to keep your mouth shut, honey. But to ensure he's given the opportunity before he's removed, the court must return to his second request. He wants a 72-hour notice. So they now ask the court to give him and his attorney 72 hours notice of the identified third country and an opportunity to be heard on any credible fear of persecution or torture pursuant to the INA and well-established precedent. And she says, and they point out that once they already removed him without any process, which is actually a very good point, that they just fucking Afuera him. Well, yeah, that's a pretty good argument. That's a pretty good point. They also point out, well, this is... Plaintiffs also highlight the defendants. Now, this is a bit here. The recent unconstitutional practice. It's perfectly legal of shuttling aliens of far-flung countries and no notice or protections demanding advance notice here. She says, per curiam, holding that the Enemy Alien Act must receive notice within a reasonable time in such manner as allow him to actually seek relief. Yes. Was it really unconstitutional how they did it? Third, the plaintiffs point to the defendant's own directives, which will render that he'll be removed to at least certain third countries without further procedures. The court agrees and will order the request of relief. So, they point that out. So, the defendants could afford Abrego Garcia no further procedures should they elect removal to South Sudan, Mexico, or any other country from which they receive advance assurances the country does not generally torture aliens. No further procedures means no notice and no opportunity to be heard before removal, and thus no opportunity for this court to maintain jurisdiction, which I don't think it has the jurisdiction here. And it says, nor could the court read more protection in the directives than the inherent words themselves. And it says, this is especially so considering that these same defendants not only screwed up once by unlawfully expelling him, but also refused to make what was wrong right. Well, I don't think they could. But once again, this is why you have to do things by the numbers, because it makes it really hard for you to come back and say, well, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. So. Let me see here. What are you guys talking about? Anyways, we're getting, I just wanted you guys to see this. I just wanted you guys to see this here, because we're going to keep moving forward on this. So this is, once again, this is the order here. Separately, the notice requests to prevent a repeat of the unlawful deportation. Okay, well, you know, once again, the government screwed up. So yeah, this is what happens. The defendants have taken no steps to ensure that any prospective third country would not summarily return Abrego Garcia to El Salvador in an end run. And they say, nor is this fear far-fetched. The defendants have already wrongly deported at least one other alien who's immediately refouled. And refoulement, chat, is when you are basically a refugee and you are returned to the nation from which you fled. So, for example, all the Ukrainians in Europe who are seeking protection, refoulement would be the returning of them to Ukraine. You're not allowed to do that under international law, but that is a process called refoulement. They say, given this, Requiring 72-hour notice is to ensure he has time. So in some, the defendants are ordered not to take him into ICE custody in Tennessee and restore him to his ICE order of supervision out of Baltimore. Okay. And should they commence third-party removal, he gets at least 72 hours prior notice, so he may assert claims that other relief available under the law and the Constitution. And this was done by Paula Xinis. Okay. So, what all happened to our boy Kilmario? Well, if you guys have not seen that, this is Kilmar leaving leaving custody in Tennessee. There. That's him there. And a lot of people are talking about him. America's got enough wife beaters. You're like, oof, oof, oof. But as oh, look here. Hey, look at this. Look at this fat guy. Anyway. Much more had gone on here. As stuff had been going on, all kinds of cringe had happened. This is Kenny Loggins. Yes, that Kenny Loggins. And yeah, here's what they're singing. Our neighbor, you can't have him from. Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him from. No. Yes, it's like, yes. And also, if you haven't seen, this is Judge Paula Xinis. Yes, so strong, so brave. This is Kilmar when he was out trafficking humans. And this here. My name is Kilmar. This is Kilmar upon his release at the end of the week. Now notice Casa, chat. Casa. Yes, that is the same Casa as was involved in all the stuff going on in the deportation cases. So you're like, huh, how does this work? Brothers you're and like, sisters. Why does it not pause? I just want to pause. So this is him, and he's got an interpreter with him. Huh. Sisters, brothers and sisters, my name is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and I want you to remember this. Remember that I am free, and I was able to be reunited with my family.
Un milagro, gracias a Dios y a gracias.
I mean, I think he's kind of shucking and jiving with the whole like, ay, no habla inglés. But like, it's going to backfire a little bit here. But anyways, you've been here how long? You don't know a lick of English? You know, home slice?
Gracias a toda la comunidad.
This was a miracle. Thank you to God and thank you to the community power.
Y por eso.
Okay, yeah, and he's like, my mom makes really good pupusas and Crunch Wrap Supremes. But that's him. That's him. Now you're like, wait. So, yes, so what happened to him today? So what happened to him as he went back today? Well, Kilmar got notice to appear at the Baltimore field office. And, well, things did not go as well. I don't know. I think if he was smart, he would have realized this was happening. I don't know, but certainly he should have known this was going to happen. Because this is just a bit much here. And it gets good. It gets good because what happened? Well, he was arrested today. He was detained at the Baltimore field office. And where is the pictures? There's a whole set of pictures of him getting escorted into. Yeah, here we go. So, I'm sorry, that thing was actually him today out in front of the Baltimore ICE office. But here's him and his attorney, some guy with, the soyest of boys. But this is him getting into, you can see he's in there getting, searched to go inside the Baltimore office. And then he's like, oh no, it's like, did you not think this was going to happen? Should have been prepared. But yes, here they are, his attorney and the Casa people. And yeah, remember, Afuera was always on the table, chat. Afuera was always on the table. So he's getting Afuera. And his attorney in one of the most hilarious arguments ever, chat. And the most hilarious arguments ever. He says it's so mean. Here he goes into the ICE building. And certainly he had to know what was going to happen.
Please step out so we can get up to the Thank you.
So I'm sure it's really rough, but I'm sure his wife's also like, well, he can't beat me again. So anyway, that's what happened there. And this is his attorney. They're advocating outside the Baltimore field office. And notice what they're crying about here. Kilmar's attorney says, because he's going to go to Uganda. And chat, for those of you in Rio Linda, Uganda's all the way over here, where you bless the rains down in Africa. Here is Uganda. It's right in the heart of Africa, right on the shores of Lake Victoria. And you might be like, Entebbe, isn't that where the commando raid happened? Yes. But yes, Uganda is also the former home of Idi Amin. So, but yes, that is... but yes, this is the homeland of Idi Amin, the last king of Scotland. And yes, Lake Victoria. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. He's not getting sent to like Ethiopia or Somalia, or he's not being sent to Djibouti. Like, we're not going to place Kilmar in Djibouti. We're not doing that to him. He's not going to Eritrea. He's not, or Ethiopia. And some of you might be like, wait, there's green in Ethiopia? Yes, there actually is quite a bit. We're not sending him anywhere. We're not sending him to Bosaso, Somalia. We're not sending him up to Yemen and Sana'a. We're not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that, chat. We're not doing any of that. So, but what is his attorney crying about? His attorney starts crying, though. His attorney starts crying that get a load of this shit, chat. This is, if I'm lying, I'm dying. He doesn't even speak the language. He don't speak the language in America. He don't speak the language of Uganda. Motherfucker, he don't even speak English. Notice all of that. He just blah, 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 blah. He had to use an interpreter. He don't speak English. Oh, well. That's a horrible argument. Then you move on, though. His attorney, Simon Sandoval Motionberg, which I've never seen this before, and I'm like, noticing time, chat. Noticing time. One of his lawyers pledged to fight tooth and nail against any form of deportation to Uganda or nearby countries. So remember, though, what did Judge Xinis say in her order? Everything that happens has to happen in Baltimore. So guess what? We're back in Baltimore. And she even had to admit she can't stop that. So guess what? It's kickoff time. It's kickoff time. Isn't that interesting, chat? Isn't that interesting? Interesting where we are, yes. And yeah, when you go to when you Google things for Uganda, it's very interesting. Uganda is a former British Commonwealth. And if you guys don't know anything about Uganda, we'll fire Wikipedia real quick here. Wikipedia, like, so what are some of the official languages of Uganda? Oh no! English and Swahili. Well, he don't speak fucking English here. So what's it matter? What's it matter, Mr. Lawyer Man? I mean, I'm just some schlubby lawyer in Heehawville. I'm out, I ain't no fancy East Coast lawyer. I'm Farmer Bob compared to him, probably. But yes, Uganda is a former British Commonwealth. So they speak English. It's actually probably the most common language in Uganda. And yeah, Uganda is the way. Uganda is the way. Does it make you cry out dumb this lawyers? No, you got to make all the arguments you can. But you got to be smart about the arguments. You can't step on your dick in front of everybody. Because these are arguments you got to make in court at some point. So, yes, he is going to get Afuera to Uganda. Yes, do you know the way? Our queen. Yes, Kilmar is going to learn that. Although, I mean, we could send him to fucking South Sudan. Like we could do that. I mean, I thought it was wrong to send these guys, like, technically, chat, like, those other guys got sent to South Sudan. Well, I mean, like, Uganda's just around the block. It's like, it's okay. It's okay-ish. Send him to Zamunda. Well, no, we should send him to Zangaro. We should send him to Zangaro and let President Kimba deal with him. And his lions, the Simbas. You guys get that movie reference? I applaud you. But there we go, chat. There we go. Yeah. Is it hot in Chad? Oh. But anyways, he's going to go somewhere. He's got to go somewhere. And now he's actually saying, well, I'll go to Costa Rica. It's okay. Let me go back to Costa Rica. So anyways, he says it's preposterous they would send him to Africa to where he doesn't even speak the language, a country with documented human rights violations, when there are so many other options. Okay, how about we send him to fucking Honduras? Oh, no, not that. And it's funny because they talk about, and this gets really funny here, chat. In the Middle District of Tennessee, his attorneys filed a notice of other information regarding the vindictive prosecution claim. Here. So what did they do? They filed a couple of things here. What's Exhibit B? Well, they have Exhibit B. Take a look at this. It is from the Charge d'Affaires, the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica, to the Charge d'Affaires in the Embassy in Costa Rica. And it's from the Costa Rican government. The Ministerio de Seguridad Pública. And it says the government of Costa Rica presents its compliments to the Embassy, United States of America in San Jose, and wishes to express its willingness to accept transfer from the U.S. of Mr. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, I think. Upon conclusion of a criminal sentence, he may serve in America. Costa Rica intends to provide refugee status or residency to Garcia upon his transfer to Costa Rica. They assure him that they don't intend to detain him upon his arrival. They assure they will not remove him to any third country, including his home country, without his consent. See, even Costa Rica understands consent. Destiny should take notes. Destiny should take notes. The government of Costa Rica tends to treat them in a manner under the convention relating to the status of refugees, which this is a convention, a charter, a treaty that everybody in the world, there are conventions under the Geneva Convention. There are multiple parts to it and multiple treaties and protocols relating to the status of refugees. Now, notice you're like 1951. Yeah, this was done in the aftermath of World War II because there were no rules before. And in 1967, because that was after World War II, but the Cold War caused all kinds of problems. Then there was the Convention Against Torture from 1984, CAT. This is another big one. And they say it intends that he will not be subjected to either torture or persecution on account of race, religion, nationality, membership in a social group, or political opinion. Does that mean gangs? I mean, maybe. So, anyways, they're just doing this. They want the avail itself, the opportunity to renew the assurances of its highest consideration from the Minister of Governance, Police, and Public Security. Basically, I think that's like the Interior Minister, the Minister of Security. That's why you like the Minister of State Security. You're like, oof, 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 oof. So, but here's the catch. He has to plead out. And then this is part of the arguments they're making here. So the courtesy emails inform you, and this is interesting, chat. This is interesting. Because the timeline, as I explained it to you, is not correct. It's a little off. Friday, August 22nd at 4 p.m. This is to inform you that he was served with documentation notifying and report to the ICE for removal on August 25th, 2025. This is from the legal advisor of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So already knowing that was going to happen. Exhibit D. And it says, pursuant, please let the serve that DHS may remove your client to Uganda no earlier than 72 hours from now, absent the weekends. So it's absent weekends, which I think Shipwreck Crew is correct. That's not correct. He could be removed at any time. So you're like, oh, wow. And you're like, ay, ay, ay. So he's going to Uganda. Ha, 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 ha. I love how he sends the one email and then 1 minute later he's like, oh, by the way, fuck you on top of it. Yes, the original deportation, he feared going back to Guatemala and El Salvador. Yes, but I think that, and even then, I think everybody has agreed that judge was incorrect. Like, that was a misstatement. He was afraid to go back to El Salvador. I think that's the ultimate argument. So I think at this point, I think even the government has acknowledged that's not a correct statement of fact, that the court at the lower court level had misstated something. So even the U.S. government's like, okay, fine, we won't send him to El Salvador. So, but I do agree that may be correct. But if everybody on the record, if all the parties on the record agree the court got it wrong, a statement of fact, then the court probably did get it wrong. IK is saying, his lawyers are saying, oh, you sent the notice to us, but not directly to our client. Well, that's how it works, though. When you are represented by counsel, you can't communicate with a client, another party. You have to communicate through counsel. So that's how that works. That's how that works. So that was properly done. So now, what do we have? Well, today, so he's going to Uganda. He's going to a place that they speak English. And they're bringing up the fact that going to Costa Rica was only an exchange for him pleading out. Well, what happened? Well, he's like, well, now we're just sending you to Uganda instead. He's like, no, I'll go to Costa Rica. Too late for that, homie. Too late for that. Too late for that. Oh, also, chat, if you wanted to see a good picture here is a guy who's like, I got played by all these people and was used as a pawn. So J6 is saying if the judge had got it wrong, he would correct it, but hasn't. Well, I don't know why the government's not like. Here's my point, though. The government hasn't made that argument, so I'm not going to make like if the government won't make that argument. That seems like an easy one to make if they thought it was good. Yes, he's like, but I like Burger King. What is this communist organization? CASA. CASA is, remember we covered this. They are part of the CASA v. Trump case, guys. Remember, they were part of that case there, and it was all about what's going on with that. So and basically CASA, you guys, is a Latino and immigration advocacy group. They are throughout. Yeah. And I guess I'll just say it like this. If you weren't aware, CASA was originally known as the Central American Solidarity Association. Yeah. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that before, here's CASA. CASA is a Latino organization, Latino in Maryland. Yes, the Central American Solidarity Association. Why aren't we like, what happened if like all these fucking groups that aren't pro-America? It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. 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 Isn't that great? Isn't that great, chat? Isn't that great how all this fucking works out? Isn't that great? Makes you proud. Like, all this shit can be used to undermine our government and our way of life. And it's like, yeah, no, it's okay. All that money funneling around and slishing and sloshing and piping through the sluices. You're like, where is the justice in this world? Where is la justice? Let me see here. So, let me see here. Where was I at here? I got lost. Where I was at, chat. Hold on. Yes, this is from the Department of Homeland Security at their official account. They announced today that they arrested Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He will be processed to Uganda. The Sanctuary News will tell you about the truth. He's MS-13 gang member. Okay, like he's not like Lalo fucking Salamanca. Like, let's at least be real there. Human traffic, correct. Life beater does sound like that. A child predator. I don't know where, like, that one I'm like, okay, kind of, but not really. Human trafficker, yes. Wife beater, yes. Child predator, where the fuck did that come from? And then criminal illegal alien, yes. We got like 3 of 5. She got 3/5 of it right. Yeah, how's he a pedo? Like, where did that come from? Is this just like we're going on now? It's like he's a pedo. It's like, but what did he like? That one I haven't heard there. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. Can he sue for defamation? He's suing a government official in their actions, so probably not. So what are you guys saying? Apparently he bad touched one of the girls he was transporting. He was in a truck full of dudes, so that doesn't make any sense. And then okay says, press X to doubt the communist org was not founded in a Presbyterian church. Oof, 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 oof. He'll like them Ugandan children, yeah. The illegals trafficking accused him of doing it. Wow. Yes, that's right. Blade 2.0. They went full IBS. What about the child porn? You're a pedo. Somebody starts like they're in the courtroom and Chris, the ICE attorneys are like, wait. So, Judge, are you telling me if there was a nuclear bomb that was going to go off and you had to deport this man illegally, you wouldn't deport him to prevent the nuclear bomb from going off or kids from getting raped? And it's like they're going to pull out the absurdity on those. Oh. Some of the people in the car, I don't think they were kids. No, I don't think they were kids. He's in the sector, yeah. Supposedly beat his kids, too. Well, I don't know about that. We knew he beat his wife. We know that. Maybe he was a predator child. Yeah, that could work. We know the government calls whoever they want pedos, yeah. That could be true. Newsletter. Yeah, I hear the Congo's a nice getaway this time of year. You could send them there instead. Ryan says, saw you speaking to Jay Stuck last night. You were awesome. Thank you. I try to be. So, the judge reads super chats. Yeah. Whoa, buddy. Yeah, we don't need to lie. He was slaving. He was a slaver. Yes. But what about the child? So let's get to some comments here. Benjamin Lewis says pupusas use corn, not flour. I don't really. It's a crunch wrap. I don't know. It's slop. I eat it. January 6th, 2.0 for $10. Don't get my hopes up here. Says a little off topic. I'm starting to think the whole population growth is just fear mongering for more H-1Bs. As we see, the increased population suppresses wages and housing, therefore suppresses growth. Well, it's unsustainable growth. Natural growth there's natural acceptable growth, but that's not being done. And you have people who are not buying into the concept of America. So, but anyways, yes, thank you for the super chat. Stephen Cooper says a writ of Haitian corpses? No. Hella excited utterance, guys, friend of the show. She says, no to guys, she loves the Adelson trial, the Adelson trial. It's her favoriteest thing in the world. So if you guys want to do some Adelson coverage, go find Hella. She says, no to Toro Alieno. I think I don't know if that's correct or not. Adam says North Korea sent him there to rebuild ties. Yes. So she's saying he gets to argue against every country ICE proposes. He does actually have that right. He says, no, I'll get tortured there. You do have that right. Now, it's got to be credible. Like, I'm going to get tortured. It's going to be, like, let's say he's, like if it was being the Rwanda when, like, the Hutus and the Tutsis were kicking off. And he's like, wait, I'm a Hutu and you're sending me to a Tutsi-controlled country. They're going to kill me. You're allowed to make the arguments. Whether or not they stick is a separate issue. Also, I think it's wrong. It's like they're going to argue that Uganda is so dangerous. It's like, are you saying that because it's full of black people, sir? Like, that's what I would do if I was the ICE attorneys. I'd be like, counsel, are you saying it's wrong because there's black people there? And watch it be like, no, that's not what I meant. So it's okay. Torgo the White says he's fat. Yes. Then Solon the leak for 10 or 100 Argentine pesos. Says, I heard he was being mistreated over there in the Bukele spa, but doesn't look hurt or emaciated. It's like that was a load of barnacles. Well, I mean, who really knows at this point? You think they would document all his injuries and things like that? Remember, there was a while there where people were like, oh my God, they're murdering people. Like the satellite photos are like, it's like a concert. They're murdering people out back. And it turned out not to be true. Turned out not to be true at all. But you think he'd document all this shit and we'd see pictures of it. Very good point. Thank you for the super chat. Salvatore says, Sean, do you remember when LeBron showed up to the Yankees-Indians ALCS in 04, I think, wearing a Yankees hat at Jacobs Field? Utterly disgraceful. Yep, but you know what? LeBron put the fries in the bag, so he gets a pass from me on all that stuff. He brought a ring to Cleveland. He put a ring on it, man. Like he could drive drunk into a playground full of kids, and I'll be like, you get a free pass. He did the one thing nobody else could do. So, Benjamin 2000 says they speak Spanish in Equatorial Guinea. Yes, they do. It is very. There are some weird places, but like the Spanish and Portuguese had influence all along the African coast initially. And then the Spanish and Portuguese split the world in half. If you guys have watched the show Shogun, that's actually what they did. The Portuguese controlled the eastern half of the known world, and the Spanish controlled the New World. MD Knight says, no habla inglés. The U.S. State Department responding, probably. Adam says, where is the waterboarding country? Oh, which one? I'm sure a lot of them will do it. BobTube says, for $2 Australian noodles, do you know the way? I'd argue there's no Jimmy John's there. Yeah, it'd be rough. That'd be rough. I like how Kobe gets one. Yeah. Jillian says, oh God. To be fighting with LeBron, well, you have to be. You have to be, man. You gotta be. The Portuguese colonies had a rough. Well, yeah, they did. The Portuguese were not good. I mean, although when you see what happens in like Mozambique and shit in the 60s, you're like, whoa. That's like some of the shit that went down in Haiti in the 1800s, man. Portuguese brawled out, though. I will say that much, man. The footage of the Portuguese in the 60s, woo, buddy. And then you see the like Portuguese paratroopers and stuff in Africa today. Whoa, man, they get down. They get down, let me tell you. A-Holes React, been a member for 8 months, says all the Dems as he gets returned and then deported again. The Treaty of Tostada and Cheese, yes. Amateur Iconic class says LeBron can run a school where none of the kids learn how to read or math. The government does that too. Like, you think the Akron City schools are any better? Do you think most schools are any better? Like, come on now. Come on now. You can't play this game.
Let's be honest.
It really, you got to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, man. There are no McDonald's in Uganda. There's got to be one there. Cool channel name says King Leopold cutting hands off. Well, that was in the Congo. Yes. Ryan Gasling is a new member. Thank you, Ryan, for your support. Sean is Braun's biggest Janny. I mean, like, he brought it, man. He brought it. He delivered. January 6th, 2.0 says, my point, the Western world's steady, sustainable population decline. The third world chaotic agrarian population. Maybe decline is what we need. No, because declining populations, when you start declining in populations, it's really hard to get it back. It's almost kind of like irreversible. You need to keep populations going. They have to go and go and go and go and go and go. Declining populations are a big concern. Like, there's a global concern. Like, we may be like unsustainable to fix this. And like, if we crash down to like 2 billion people, that would be very detrimental. Like, it could wipe us out. You have to kind of keep going. Like, birth rates are all over the world are declining, and that's not good. It's not good. So, I wonder if Uganda has due process. I mean, they have some, but I don't know if I'd want it. So, I feel the vessel talk coming. Peter Central says Sean get busy spraying that seed. It's like, no, this isn't a T-Rex arm Lucas Bakken discussion. We're not doing Quiverful here, chat. In the meantime, though, guys, there was an order Well, Kilmar and his attorneys filed a writ of habeas corpus in Maryland again. Let's get on here. I'm thinking of Grantham. No, they both do it. They're both doing that shit. Look, his Bucket's got a ton of kids. They both are doing Quiverful. Grantham just runs around and just busts nuts in every woman he could find. It's a little different. But anyways, here is what his attorneys filed today. So they did Kilmar, which I'm a little concerned because the way they filed this, it's like when you read the address, you're like, Fairfax, Virginia. I'm like, that's not in Maryland. I thought he was supposed to live in the District of Maryland. Huh. How does that work? Somebody's writ of habeas corpus. So the government unlawfully arrested them. They had to go blah, 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 blah. They go through all this. They have jurisdiction here. They claim they have jurisdiction. I don't know that's the case. They bring up that Kilmar is a citizen and native of El Salvador who resides in Maryland. He's married to a U.S. citizen wife and has a minor U.S. citizen child. They can all move to Uganda. I bet Uganda will take him. Remember, Zoran Mondami had his wedding there, the future mayor of New York City, so it must be okay there. So they talk about the issues here that they're talking about what's going to happen here to them. Okay. And they talk about deportations. The deportations are purely civil. And that civil detention may not become a mechanism for retribution or general deterrence. No, it's just, we want to get rid of his ass. That says once a non-citizen is given a final removal order, Title 8 of the U.S. Code is the immigration statute. It governs the country to which the individual may be removed. The status allows the non-citizen to designate one country to which the alien wants to be removed and requires the Attorney General shall remove the alien to the country the alien so designates. There are only times where you can ignore it. And it says if the non-citizen cannot be removed to that country, then another provides a list of countries to which he may be removed. The very last country on the removal list is a country with a government that will accept the alien in the territory if removal to each country described is impracticable, inadvisable, or impossible. So what are those countries list? I mean, there is an entire list of them, of where you can go, what you can do. And when you go to this here, hold on, chat. Where is, hold on, crap. I had it here and I missed it. I moved it. Hold on. Where is it here? Here we go. In chat, this is 8 USC 1231B. And it says countries in which aliens may be removed. It says in general. At the time of this, the alien shall be removed from the country which the alien boarded the vessel or aircraft in which the alien arrived in the United States. So the country in which you entered into America from is where normally you'll go. So if the alien boarded the vessel or aircraft from which the alien arrived in a foreign territory contiguous to the United States, an island adjacent to the United States, or an island adjacent to a foreign territory contiguous to the United States, and the alien is not a native citizen subject or a nation or does not reside on the territorial land, removal shall be to the country in which the alien boarded the vessel that transported the alien to the territory or island. So if you're here and if you come from Mexico, it's easy enough. You go to Mexico. But if you lived on an island and then you went somewhere else, like you flew from like Mozambique to Mexico. Okay, well, you go back to Mexico. Then it says alternative countries. So we have some alternative countries here that we could choose from. And here's our list. Well, Mexico doesn't want him. Well, so that takes care of that issue. But it sounds like he came straight from El Salvador or Guatemala. It's not really clear. So what do you do? The country to which he's a citizen, subject, or national. El Salvador. The country to which he was born. El Salvador. The countries which he has a residence. El Salvador. But wait, he can't go there. Womp, womp. A country with a government that will accept the alien into the country's territory if removal to each country described in a previous clause is impracticable, inadvisable, or impossible. Well, yeah, it kind of sounds like it. But let's get back to this here. And they say the statute has 4 consecutive removal commands. And it says with the third step, you only do it if it's impractical, inadvisable, or impossible. Well, you guys say if he goes back to El Salvador, he's going to get murdered by the Crunchwrap gang. The Pupusa boys are going to kill him. You've already said that. The Pupusa boys are going to kill him. Yeah, I'm sure the dirty secret is he was involved with a gang that was feuding with another gang. They had a Crunchwrap war. They had the Pupusa war. And it says, notwithstanding the above, you may not be removed to a country where they will suffer persecution on account of a protected ground, or they will be tortured at the acquiescence of a government official. This form of protection is called withholding of removal. The grant of withholding of removal is specific to only one country. Should the government remove an individual with a grant of withholding to some other country, it must first provide that individual notice to apply for withholding of removal to that country as well, if appropriate. I mean, like, he's going to say, oh, no, we'll move you to France. They're going to torture me there. We'll move you to, like, wherever. They're going to torture me there. Everywhere he's going to go, they're going to torture him, I'm sure. We'll move you to Japan, so they're going to torture me there. The prohibition on removal where a non-citizen would face prosecution or torture remains absolute. And precisely because withholding is country-specific, if a non-citizen has been granted withholding as a one country facing removal to an alternative, they must be given notice to that country to say that one's not right. And they say for non-citizens order removed, they permit the government to detain citizens during the removal period, which is defined as 90 days. The Attorney General shall remove them from the U.S. After that, the government shall release unremovable non-citizens on an order of supervision. And even non-citizens with aggravated felony convictions may be released if subject to the terms of supervision. And isn't that fucked up? Even if you have aggravating felony conditions, you still get cut loose. Yes, everywhere except the Maldives will torture me. Yes, everywhere except the Seychelles will torture me. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it's going to work here. So they say that, ultimately their point is here, the purpose of detention is to secure the alien's removal. And they say where there's no possibility of removal, immigration detention prevents substantive due process concerns because the need to detain them for availability is weak or non-existent. And they say that, well, if we can't take you anywhere, then there's no immigration proceeding. You're like, I don't think that's how that should be. Yeah, so it's like, fine, we'll just torture you here then, yes. And chat, give me 1 second. I got to go take care of something for 2.0. Give me 1 second, chat. All right, chat. Sorry about that. We had to take care of something. Took care of it. We're all set. Once a mute, always a mute. No, I had to mute to take care of that thing. So sorry about that. So what's the plan here? Well, they're arguing, well, you'll have to do something. They say that, the courts determined that 6 months could be a reasonable period of detention, after which the government has to have a good reason to believe there's no likelihood of removal in the reasonably foreseeable future if Kilmar can show that. So right now he's trying to challenge that. And they say after an order is executed, it could be reinstated from its original date, only if the Attorney General finds the alien has re-entered the United States illegally after being removed or departed voluntarily or being under an order of removal. So, they talk about the related facts involving this case have been now litigated, but they really haven't. They talk about the cases here that were in the Maryland case, the Fourth Circuit, the case that went up to the Supreme Court, which really didn't go anywhere, the Middle District of Maryland, the Fourth Circuit again, and the Middle District of Maryland. And they go through all of this here, and they're trying to say this is not fair. And they say shortly after the release from jail, they were served with a notice for Uganda. And it said the government, however, failed to serve the petitioner as required by this court's order, and so the 72-hour period before the government grants removal has not started to run. You were served through your counsel, because if they tried to serve him personally, you guys would shit yourselves. On August 23rd, petitioner expressed fear of persecution and torture in Uganda and requested a reasonable fear interview. Why? Why are they going to torture you in Uganda? Do they not like Mexican or Guatemalans or El Salvadorans? Like, what's the deal? Do they hate Hispanic people? And, yeah, I'm going to get deported on that land, bish. Let's see. Also on Sunday, they designated Costa Rica as his preferred country of removal. Oh, well, now you want to go to Costa Rica. The petitioner presented himself to the ICE officer required. At that time, without forewarning, he was taken into custody. You can. The officer who took him into custody did not respond to counsel's request for his stated reason for the detention. So upon relief, they detained him in order to punish him for his protected activity. He had a removal order. This is all nonsense. He had a removal order. It doesn't matter. He had a removal order. They're seeking to remove him to Uganda, a process which they know will trigger lengthy legal proceedings, rather than Costa Rica. But wait, didn't we just get to the whole point of, remember what they said? Make him go to Costa Rica's vindictive. Pick a fucking lane, you guys. Pick a lane. Well, if he goes to Costa Rica, it's all vindictive. Well, okay, fine. We'll send your ass to Uganda. No, I don't want that now. Listen to this. Listen to this bullshit. I don't want it now. I don't want that now. I'm sorry. I want the previous deal. Sorry, the deal's gone. No. Well, that's what happens when you fuck around, homie. And they want the removal for his designation, offered him resettlement. Yes, if he had pled out. I mean, isn't that part of your argument was he was being extorted to go there? Fine, we won't punish you. We'll send you to Uganda. This is whole thing here. In doing so, the respondents know an intent for petitioner to be detained for a lengthy period, even though Costa Rica could be effectuated with little or no detention at all, and they seek to punish him for the above-mentioned constitutionally protected activities. Well, oh well. And as of this time, he's still detained in the ICE Baltimore holding room. Okay, well. He's exhausted all administrative remedies, has he, though? Has he? So anyways, he says that his habeas claims may be reviewed, and that they ignoring his designation of Costa Rica to attempt to remove him to Uganda. They say the second cause of action, it says, over half a decade after his removal period expired, the respondents are detaining him for removal to Uganda, without a likelihood of removal to Uganda in the reasonably foreseeable future. It sounds like it's already been worked out. And the government relies on a final purported order to remove him from 2019. They claim that this period would have expired in no later than 2020. Well, you don't get to live here forever if you were told you have to leave. That's not how that gets to work. So they're arguing that they're violating multiple parts of the violation of due process. At least they didn't write ultra vires in here. So he remains at risk of refoulement to El Salvador. I mean, if he goes to Uganda, if he goes to Costa Rica, they could send him to El Salvador. I mean, listen to this nonsense from these people. I mean, if we send him here, they might send him back to El Salvador. Whereas if we send him here, there's no risk of that from going meow or going meow. That's the argument they're making. That's the argument they're making, chat. Listen to this shit. Listen to this shit. I mean, he can't go back to El Salvador. Okay, well, how far away is that? Well, to Costa Rica, it's 500. It's not even 500 miles. From Uganda, it's fucking 8,000 miles. I mean, you're telling me that's the greater threat? Is getting sent back 8,000 miles by broke-ass Uganda? I mean, but no, going to Costa Rica is a safer bet. I mean, it's 8,000 miles. It's 8,000 miles. How does that work? How does that math? How does the math on that one math, chat? Because we're going to take this and we'll actually figure this out here. For Costa Rica. Going to San Salvador, the mother church of pupusa making. All the way to San... Do you know the way to San Jose? Bop, 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 bop. Look at that. From San Jose to San Salvador is 430 miles. Yeah, there's no risk of refoulement there. Yes. Yes, Phone Punk, you're right. From the mountains to the sea, Kilmar will be reread. So they say the government has provided no assurances that Uganda would not refoul petitioner to El Salvador. Moreover, Uganda has said it will not accept individuals with criminal records. I'm sure for a lot of cash, they'll do whatever we want. Petitioner has been indicted for the United States for conspiracy to transport aliens and unlawful documented aliens and a vindictive and selective prosecution. Uganda says it prefers individuals from African countries shall be the ones transferred to Uganda. That's pretty fucking racist. This is pretty racist, chat. This is pretty racist here. Look at this. Look at this racist shit. We only want black folk. We only want black folk here. Yeah, you could be disappeared in all these countries and never be seen again, even in Costa Rica. But wow, even racist-ass Uganda's like, we only want black people. It's like, damn. And it says, notably, at least one country that has agreed has promptly refouled a deportee despite a withholding removal. And it says a guy with withholding and removal to Guatemala was deported to Mexico. And Mexican authorities promptly deported him to Guatemala. Remember, we went through that letter. They claimed that letter from Costa Rica wasn't good enough. But now they're saying it is. Which lane are you choosing here, Kilmar? You know, are you going El Righto or El Lefto? You have to pick. You got to pick a box. You got to pick a box. Come on now. You got to pick a box. Because in your motion in Tennessee, you're saying that doesn't count. No pupus. They don't want your pupusas. No crunch wraps allowed in Uganda. No Mexican cuisine allowed. No ethnic Latin cuisine allowed. So they say the removal order was executed in March 2025. Petitioner was paroled in the U.S. on June 6, 2025. The respondents cannot execute a removal order a second time. nor can they reinstate the removal order since he has not illegally re-entered the United States. Accordingly, petitioner has no executable removal order they cannot remove the United States, nor may they detain him pursuant to any subsection of 8 U.S.C. 1231A. Now, here's the thing. If that really is the case, then fucking shame on them for fucking that up. But then he gets to come back to America and beat his wife in peace. Like a real American. So what do they want? They want an issue to show that the detention is in law. And joining the government for taking him more than 200 miles from the courthouse. Enjoin them for moving him to Uganda without concluding reasonable fear and withholding proceedings, including all appeals. Enjoin them for removing him to Uganda without first attempting to remove him to Costa Rica. Issue a writ of habeas corpus in order he be released from physical custody. Well, that's not happening. And granting any other relief. Well, some of that's going to happen, but not all of it. But yeah, look, he's got Quinn, Emmanuel, Urquhart, and Sullivan. Guess who works there, guys? These are... I mean, look at all this. Look at all these people here. Yeah. How is this all being paid for? How is this all being paid for? This is some of the best lawyers you could find. Yeah, how is this working here? How is this working here? So, he beat his wife like a cop. Yes. I bet Uganda would say no to African Americans. I bet a lot of them would. I'm surprised Canada doesn't offer to take them. Yeah, like, you know, I think like they like to try to think they're cucking over everybody. Yeah, I am surprised. I am surprised. But that has not happened here. But yeah, like, oh, we want to send him to Costa Rica. Well, now you're extorting him. Fine, you can go to Uganda. No. I want. They're playing fucking games, and now they're paying for it. They're paying for the playing games. Garcia's a pawn for the left to keep their pipeline scheme going. Yeah, yep, he is. Yes, Kilmar Abrego Garcia does not know D-Way. Yes. You know, do you know D-Way to San Jose by Uganda? So, what if he doesn't want to go because the brown people don't like black people? Well, that is a common thing. Hispanics and blacks, like, they don't get along very well. Very well. Oh. Let me see here. Yes, Fair Frozen 55 says losing populations is how the Bronze Age collapse got its back 1,000 years in progress. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, 1.5 children. The crash has already happened. Very true. January 6, 2.0 is saying for $10. Sorry, I disagree. Every example decline our nation still exists today or ones prior to the Industrial Revolution. We no longer live on farms where kids mean more farm hands. Incentives are gone. Well, yeah, I mean, yes, incentives are gone. We need to figure that out. Sleazy is saying, wait, does it mean I can claim I'll be tortured and get them to send me to a country club? It sounds like I should just claim I'm an immigrant at this point and get super citizen benefits. Yeah, pretty much. Dolly says, what does he do when he gets off the plane in Uganda? Does he have housing? He could start selling pupusas. I mean, they'd be like, oh, wow, what are these? They'd be like, ha, ha, ha. Central American man, what are these treats, Taco Man? And he should go, they are pupusas. And he go, ha, 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 we love them. We should give you $1 million. And then John Gordon says, if illegal self-deport, they can go back to their country of origin. If they don't, their deportation location should be random. Well, we have to have an agreement with that country because if we just kick him off the plane, like if you just like, he gets to like, we land in like Japan and he's standing in the jetway and we just shove him out the door and take off again. You can't do. Woo. Good thing it wasn't straight. Yeah, see? You get it like this. You can't just do that. We have to have an agreement with them because they're, you know, then the plane lands and we got to call for Japan like, bro, why'd you drop this dude off here? And we're like, sorry. We can't do that to our friends. We can't do that to our friends. There's a whole rule to that. Edie Raptor says, I just got here. Can you start over? No. Here's Cliff Notes. Afuera. So. Augusto's free skydiving lessons, yeah. Katie says, I mean, if we tried it, well, where would we go? We'd have to take them to like our allies, and I'm sure Japan would get very fucking mad, and I don't want them to get mad at us. Japan is a nice country, full of good people. I don't want to make them mad at us. So, no, I would rather not do that. I would rather not do that. Let's see here. The lifetime of all-inclusives. Use it as a threat for trade deal negotiations. Drop the tariffs or we'll flood you with our immigrants. BLT says MS-13 doesn't operate in Uganda. No. Deport them to Ukraine. Yeah, it's like, here you go. You don't want to go to El Salvador? We'll send you to a place where they have drones that kill you for fun. Oh, random airdrops of illegals all over Africa. There we go. Two scoops of destroyers, you can't just deliberately create the terminal type of situations. No, and that movie is not correct. Like, there are ways around that. Like I said, there are all kinds of conventions and treaties that handle that. That was the thing that kind of blew up out of proportions. England would take him. Well, no, because he'd have to say he wants to join the Muslim rape gangs. That's the only way they take him. Malcolm Combs says, send him to the Balkans. Yes. The cabbage farms need skilled agricultural workers. Well, Johnny Somali is going to be handling that soon enough. He could traffic people in London and get probation if he gets investigated. Well, there we go. Yeah. Cool Name says, it's amazing how dysfunctional and lawless the entire world is. Well, I guess this is something I think you guys need to understand. The international stage, the international world setting here, you know what it operates on? Anarchy. The countries operate amongst each other as they wish. That's the international setting. The international setting is anarchy. It's complete and total anarchy. So, yeah. Countries agree until they don't wish to agree. And then you have to do something about it. Greg said, let's a rock. Let us inspect your weapons. No, do something about it. Gotta do something about it. So South Sentinel Island's probably the safest place to be. Well, Cool Channel Name says crazy. I'm like, well, think about it at the end of the day. You know, if you're a country, you do as you wish. You're a sovereign. I'll do as I wish. So, but yes, that is the situation for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The court has ordered him to get held for now. At some point, he's still going to get Afuera, and he should. He should get Afuera. He wants his hearing. We'll give him his fucking hearings. You know, he'll get his hearing, and then he can get Afuera, and then he can, and then we'll deal with that. So, yeah. All right, guys. So that is it for tonight. We are going to go live over on Locals in about an hour here, chat, and that's over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Promo code summertime 2025. You could join us for 1 month free. Because that is where you need to go. And hold on here real quick. Are you sitting right here, Pupper? Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Ah, getting fat. He's fat. He's a dog. Chat. Here's Clyde. Whoa. Join us over on Locals. We're going to have some fun over there tonight. And then tomorrow night, guys, we're going to go over the whole Trump thing about the flag burning. I think there might be some other stuff here too, but that was kind of a big deal. And I got a lot of fucking problems with it. Like, he may be trying to play some 10D chess, but it's pretty, like, it's a very retarded way of going about it. What you think, Bubber, huh? What you think, Bubberkinst? Bubbercanst? All right, Clyde, I'm going to set you on the ground. So there you go, buddy. What did I just roll? No, it's a pen. Just crunched. Oh, well. Yes, he's got an underbite. Also, whichever one of you is Clyde the Dog 88 on the casino when you guys donate subs, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. I thought it'd be Clyde the Dog 1488, but okay. Still good. Yes. Fuck Abrego. Yes. Clyde looks disappointed. You know, he wants food and he knows where there's food. So, yes. To the moon. Yes, that is correct. Trump's EO has some weasel language in it. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. Try to enter the flag of England in chat. How do? Oh, I don't. Hold on here. I gotta open up. Remember, chat. I use StreamYard, so I don't get to see all the emojis. Oh no! What happens? Does it show you like? Does it show you like something weird? Hold on here. Give me a second. I'm gonna open it up. View your channel. View your channel. Let's see here. All right. All right. So it's St. George's flag. Oh. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's sad. It's an instant ban. Yeah. Well, why is it not the English flag? They should be proud of their flag. So, yeah, not the well. You said if you enter England's, it becomes the Union Jack. Well, it should just be that. Swamp Dog Clyde for $5 says Clyde the Dog 88 is my first cousin. Yes, he is. You guys are good boys. I appreciate what you do. So, yes. Although, where was this? I just saw this. Yes, Afuera Garcia. I love that. That is just. We're gonna have to keep that one in mind. Matt Core is a Greg. Says, don't call it a comeback when Sherrod Brown wins. He ain't fucking winning again, man. He's done. He's done. Time for locals, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, chat. So, yes, this is actually the correct English flag, 100%. So, yes, Clyde the Dog, NHH coming soon. Oh, chat. All right. Well, with that said, you guys, enjoy yourselves tonight. Like I said, we're going to go over locals, have some fun. Do you think Jim Trussell has a chance at winning? Sadly, yes. Sadly, yes. Sadly, yes. So, with that said, chat, I will talk to you guys next time. And remember, as always, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you are trafficking people around the country and your name's Kilmar Abrego Garcia, you are guilty of that. You are guilty of being here illegally. And better brush up on your Swahili, buddy. Apparently, you never picked up English the whole time you were here. So try Swahili. Might be easier for you. Good night, chat, and take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney.